Hello, welcome to Mr. B's Ukulele channel. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy watching.
This is my tutorial for Disney's 1991 original of Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast. And this is just such a brilliant song to sing. There's so many challenges in this. There's about 13 different chords, so we'll have a look at those first of all. The strumming is relatively straightforward. There's two different variants on the strumming, so we'll talk about that as well. There is a lot of song to sing in this one. There's a lot of great verses and things going on in them. So we'll do a bit of a walkthrough. We'll focus on two main parts of the song to give you a good overview of the different styles you'll need to sing and play. Then we'll have a good look at the layout and talk through the song in a little bit more detail so you can see how it all fits together. And then we'll finish with a bit of a demo. So here we go. Chords first of all. Let's go. So this is a really nice song for learning different chords because there's not just an A minor, there's an A minor 7th, and then there's an A minor major 7th. And it's nice just to see those different chords and hear how they can be used to complement each other. So this is a great song for exploring chords that you might not have even heard of before. And it's a great one for sort of learning different chords that you can play alongside other chords in other songs. So let's go through them, I think, in alphabetical order just for ease. So we have the A minor, first of all. Obviously, our second finger on the second fret. We also have the A minor 7th, which is no fingers. And then we have the A minor major 7th, which is your first finger on the first fret there on the G string. So we've got, let's just do those three. We'll do A minor major 7th, and A minor 7th. Just gives a nice variety. Good to be able to just flick between those three quite easily. They are pretty easy to do. So A minor major 7th, and A minor 7th. Okay, so make sure you're happy with those three. Nice and easy relatively. We've got a B major chord in here as opposed to a B flat. And you'll go to that from the A minor. So you just need to be able to grab that literally from an empty fingerboard to the B chord. So that's your transition, A minor 7th to the B. So you need to be really confident grabbing that B out of nowhere, so to speak, and finding that on the fingerboard. So practice your B chord. Okay, we've got a D and a D7. They're very easy to do. D. Of course, our second finger on the second fret across the G, C, and E strings. And the D7 is where we squash our second finger down to make a full bar across the whole second fret. And we add our third finger on the A string on the third fret. Okay, we've got a couple of E chords and then a whole host of G chords. We'll look at those in a minute and spend a little bit longer on those. We've got two chords on the E, and one leads into the other. So it starts with the E sus4, and then goes to the E7. And you can hear how those two work really nicely together. So it's the E sus4 to E7. E sus4 is a stretch. I think ideally a third finger there on the fourth fret on the G and the C. You could get away with doing your little finger. I always find it a bit hard doing multiple strings with my little finger because it's not as strong. So third finger on the fourth fret on the G and the C. And you can hear how that you've got that sort of high-pitched 7th that isn't resolved, wants resolving, wants to go to a nice settled chord like the E7. So they work really nicely together. Obviously, the E7, our first finger on the first fret on the G string, second finger on the C string, and third finger on the A string, both on the second fret there. Let's just do those two together. So E7, 2 strums, and then E sus4, 2 strums, and then the E7. Let's do that again. E sus4 and E7. You'll need to be able to do that transition for the piece, so do have a look at that little combo and make sure you're happy with it. Okay, then we get to the G chord, and we have a lot of fun with this. We've got a G, a G6, a G7, a G major 7, and a G diminished 7th chord. So a lot to get your head around. let's make sure we're comfortable with our G. If you're comfortable with your G, the others are not too difficult actually. So a standard G is your first finger at the bottom there on the A string on the 2nd fret, second finger above it on the C string on the 2nd fret, third finger at the side on the 3rd fret on the E string. There's your G. G6, take the 3rd finger away. You can feel how it doesn't quite, or hear how it doesn't quite sound as settled, does it? Feels like it's missing something. And then we have our G7. Great, all these variations, isn't it? So G7 is our first finger on the E string on the 1st fret, second finger on the 2nd fret on the C string, and third finger on the 2nd fret on the A string. So let's just practice going from the G to the G6 to the G7. Do that one more time. G, G6, G7. Okay, good stuff. And again, just make sure you're comfortable with that. Now, the G major 7 is where we take our 3rd finger. In fact, we just squash our 2nd finger or 1st finger. I tend to do it with my 2nd across that 2nd fret there on the C, E, and A strings. So you go from a G to a G major 7 by squashing your 2nd finger across the C, E, and A strings. Now on your chord diagram, it does show that you can use your 1st finger there for that chord. However, when you transition from the G which we do in this song, it's easier just to flatten your 2nd finger, which is already on that C string, so it's already in the right place for this. So G, G major 7. And that's a really nice, easy transition to do by just keeping your 2nd finger in the same place and then flattening it. And then the last chord is the G diminished 7. And that's just your 1st and 2nd finger on the 1st fret, 1st finger on the bottom on the A string, and 2nd finger 2 strings above it on the C string. That's your G diminished 7th. So loads of chords there to get your head around. Just make sure you're relatively comfortable with them, and then you can have a look at the song. And for many of them, it's just about learning those combinations and learning how you go from one into the other, like the G into the G major 7, because actually when you do it that way, it flows really nicely. And that's what many of these chords are about, just complementing each other and helping the song just sort of flow and really enjoy itself. Okay, let's look at the strumming next, and you'll be pleased to hear it's a lot easier. Okay, for the strumming, there are 2 patterns. One is a nice, simple down, down, up. We start on a G, so it just goes down, down, up, down. Be our guest, put our service to the test. And that's it. That's basically the first verse. Goes at that sort of relaxed, very sedate tempo. Very calm at the beginning. And then it gets all excited, and we go into the down, down, up, up, down, up. Be our guest, put our service to the test. And it's a lot more full of energy, a lot more vibrant and full of fun as the song really comes to life. So it's just a simple down, down, up, down, up. And that's all you need to do. So it's those 2 strumming patterns. And it's just, if you look at the layout quickly, I'll talk about the layout more carefully at the end. But that first box, the first verse is, you can see the chords all in yellow, sort of goldy yellow. And that's just the down, down, up pattern. And you can see then at the end of the first verse, the last chord on guest is the red. And that goes into down, down, up, down, up. And then you stay with that all the way through the song. So those are the 2 strumming patterns you need, nice and easy. Let's do a walkthrough and you'll see how that all fits together. So there are 3 bits that we really need to look at in this song. If you have a look at the sheet music again, you'll see the first verse with the yellow strumming pattern, the down, down, up. It's nice and relaxed, nice and casual. And then you see the rest of it goes into the fast-paced down, down, up, down, up pattern. And we need to look at that contrast and just practice that a little bit. But if you look at the 3rd box in the middle, where it starts with the E minor, Life is so unnerving. That bit is where you almost talk through it. It's the scene where the candlestick and the clock are talking and complaining about their lives as servants, without any guests in the castle, because their master has turned into a hideous monster that no one wants to come near. So they are bemoaning their situation, and it's most of it's almost talked through. So it's quite hard. It's got to be done in a musical sense. So it's quite hard to try and catch that right. So we'll have a quick look at that as well. I tend to sing it and just sort of speak a few bits in a few places to try and get that middle ground. So we'll have a look at the first verse first of all, and I'll probably do the whole verse here, and then just look at a few select parts of the rest of the song. So with the down, down, up pattern, you can start off by singing on your own the first two words. B, and then we go on to the G with the guest. Guest, be our, and I'm sort of doing two strum patterns on each chord. Guest, be our, G major 7, so squash that second finger. Guest, put back to the G6 now, just the two fingers. Service to the, back to the G. Test, tie your napkin round your E7, next your E, and A minor 7, remember, hands free, will provide the D. Rest, soup de jour, normal A minor, hors d'oeuvres, A minor major 7th, that's your first finger there. D'oeuvres, why we, A minor 7 again, only lift to D, serve. Try the A minor 7th again. Grey stuff, it's the G dim 7. That's the first and second finger on the first fret. Licious, don't D. Leave me as the D7 dishes. They can win to the G chords again. They can sing. They can G major 7. Flatten your second finger. Dance after G6. First two fingers. All miss. This is G chord again. France. You'll see that combination of four chords. G, G major 7, G6, G happens quite a lot in that loop, so that's a good one to practice. After all, miss, this is France. Back to the G6, and a dinner here is G7, never second, A minor 7 best. Go on, and here's where you throw the B in. Fold your menu, take her back to the A minor 7, glance and then you'll be our A minor. Guest, be our D7, guest, be our, onto the G. This is where we go into the full strum pattern, the faster strum pattern. Guest, be frag. Staying on the G, cheese, so G major 7, flay, pie, and G6, pudding on flom, G, bay, will prepare and serve with E7, flare, a cullen, A minor 7, a culinary cabaret. So you can see there, we've gone into the second verse, we've gone for the faster strumming, but the chord sequence is just the same. It's the same set of chords all the way through the verses. So once you're familiar with the chord patterns, it's not too hard. It's really just about following the lyrics. There's a lot of lyrics on the page, a lot of verses, all completely different lyrics. It's a lot of fun. So you can see how we go from the slow, really sort of calm opening into the real sort of excitement of the second verse, and then it sort of builds excitement further on as well. The bit to contrast with that, to have a look at, is the sort of, like I said, the semi-spoken verse in the middle, where they're all a bit depressed and complaining about life before Belle comes along and basically invigorates them with her stunning enjoyment of the meal, basically just by being there, and they're suddenly overawed by having a guest. So the middle bit starts on the E minor, and we've still got that down, down, up, down, up, but you need to slow it down into this. So just to the last line of the second verse. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Slow down now into the E minor. Life is so unnerving. B, for a servant who's not serving. He's not whole. E7 without a soul to wait upon. A minor. I'm just trying to put in a few bits sort of spoken, sort of like just exasperated, calling out, shouting out in the middle of the singing. It's hard to do. Just have a go with a few words. I literally just put a few words in here and there. He's not whole without a soul to wait upon. A minor. Ah, those good old days when we were E minor useful. To the A minor 7, certainly those good old days are. Here's the E sus4 to the E7. Gone. And then back to E minor. 10 years we've been rusting, needing B so much more than dusting, needing E7 exercise, a chance to use our A minor skills. Most days we just lay around the E minor castle. And this is the hardest bit in the song. You've got to go from this very dour, very sort of sullen and depressed sort of singing with a little bit of shouting to a very excited, it's a guest, sakes alive and I'll be blessed. And you somehow got to transition in 2 lines. So I'll just go back to the kneading exercise and you'll see how I try and do it. You've really got to just go for it with the shouting, the excitement in the last 2 lines. Needing exercise, a chance to use our A minor skills. Most days we just lay around the E minor castle. To the A minor 7, flabby, fat and lazy. We've got the E sus4 to the E7 again here. Flabby, fat and lazy, you walked in and upset daisy. It's a guest, sakes alive and I'll be blessed. So you've really got to just go for that and put as much energy, fake or otherwise, into that to really just enjoy it. And I find that if I put the energy in, suddenly I'm finding myself laughing and just enjoying it just for the sheer ridiculousness of it. So just really go for broke with that. But you've got to have that transition from the 3rd verse where you're really depressed and sullen into the full of joy because your guest has just walked in through the doors. And it's the first guest for however long. And sakes alive and I'll be blessed. What a great line that is. Okay, so that's my walkthrough because pretty much the 4th and 5th verses just follow on from the first 2 verses. Very much the same, just more complicated lyrics to get your head around. So let's have a quick look at the layout. Just to really go through with the sheet that I've done, the sheet music that I've done, so you can see how to follow that. It literally just reads, there's 3 columns there, just read it from left to right, top to bottom, obviously. So starting with a be a guest and a nice slow down, down, up, sort of 2 patterns per chord. Then we get to the end of that line. Be a guest, and we're into the 2nd verse. Beef ragout, cheese souffle, pie I'm putting on flambe. And we've got that energy carrying in. We have to slow it down at the end of that 2nd verse. Be a guest, be a guest, be a guest. Slow it down into the E minor. Life is so unnerving for a servant who's not serving. And then we do the opposite at the end. You walked in and upset daisy. It's a guest, sakes alive and I'll be blessed. And then when we get to the end of that 4th verse, actually that's the easy bit. You're just carrying on in the same manner. You don't actually have to make any transition. For you, our guest, she's our guest, be a guest. Just repeat, really. Be a guest, our command is your request. And then at the very end, you just slow it down. Tonight you'll prop your feet up, but for now let's eat up. Be a guest, be a guest, be a guest. And that's the song. So it's one of the most thrilling songs I think you can do on the ukulele. It's just so much going on. All the chords. What I love is all the 7ths and the 6s, all the different chord variations that you'll find. You really discover new ways of playing the ukulele that you maybe weren't familiar with before. So there's a lot of depth into the song. It's just a silly, fun song at the end of the day, but there's actually a lot of really good musical qualities to it. So do enjoy learning it. If you have enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting, needing exercise, a chance to use our skills. Most days we just lay around the castle. flabby, fat and lazy. You walked in and oops a daisy. It's a guest, sakes alive and I'll be blessed. Wine's been poured and thank the Lord I've had the napkins freshly pressed. With dessert you want tea, now my dear that's fine with me. While the cups do their soft chewing, I'll be bubbling, I'll be brewing. I'll get warm, piping hot. Heaven's sake, is that a spot? Clean it up, we want the company impressed. We've got a lot to do, is it one lump or two? For you our guest, she's our guest, she's our guest. Be our guest, be our guest, our command is your request. It's been years since we've had anybody here, and we're obsessed with your meal, with your ease. Yes, indeed, we aim to please. While the candlelight's still glowing, let us help you, we'll keep going. Course by course, one by one, till you shout, enough, I'm done. Then we'll sing you off to sleep as you digest. Tonight you'll prop your feet up, but for now let's eat up. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest.